Hi everyone. So let's continue with more concepts on shell scripting. So let us discuss this program wherein I'm going to explain some of the important constructs in shell scripting. So in this shell script, I'm echoing on the screen $variable and this is the content. So the important construct to be noted here is colon hyphen. This entire colon hyphen is one construct. So what exactly is the meaning of this? What it will do is, if the value of this variable where is not set, then it will echo this string on the screen. I repeat, colon hyphen. This construct, what it will do is, if the value of this variable where is not set, then it will print this string. So variable is not set printed on the screen. Then in the next line we print value of the variable is whatever is the value of the variable. Just now we saw that value of the variable was not set, and that is the reason why it displayed this string on the screen, right? So when I'm actually printing the value of the variable in this line, it's not set. That's why after is nothing is printed, because value of the variable is not set. Clear? Then let's study this construct colon followed by equal to. Colon followed by equal to will assign the value of this string to this variable. So it will assign this string to variable where. Clear? It will assign this value to variable where, and it will print the content of the variable on the screen. That's why it is printing variable is not set. Clear? I repeat, what this construct will do is colon followed by equal to, it will assign the value of this string to this variable, and since there is an echo, it will echo this string on the screen. Then in the next line we are printing this line and we are printing the content of variable where. Now as part of this statement, variable where which was unset earlier will get this string, right? So in place of $where it will print this string which is over here. In the next statement I am calling unset followed by where. So the variable where which was assigned this string is unset as part of this line. Let's learn what this construct does. Colon followed by plus. Colon followed by plus will check whether this variable is not set, and if it is not set, it will assign this string to this variable where. Okay. In the next line we print value of the variable is content of the variable. What is the content of variable? This string which was assigned as part of this. Only if this variable is unset, it will assign this. Otherwise, no. If this variable is not set, only then it will assign this string over here. Okay. So it will print on the screen value of the variable is, this is a default value. Value of the variable is, this is a default value. In the next line we are assigning value prefix to where. So the variable where which contained this is a default value is being overwrote by a new value to it called prefix. Then in the next line, this variable where now already has a value. That's why it won't be overwritten by this line. In this example with colon plus sign, this variable was explicitly unset earlier. So hence this variable was set with a value, this is a default value. And now what we are do here is, since this variable where already has a value prefix, it is not overwritten by this line. It still contains prefix. Now when we print this line on the screen, content of where is prefix and not this line. That is because colon plus is a construct. What it does is, only if this variable is unset, then only it takes this value. Otherwise no. So this variable where already has prefix value, that's why it is not going to overwritten by this line. That's why content of variable is prefix. Here, colon question mark. Okay, what it will do is, if this variable is not set, then it will print this line on the screen. Otherwise, whatever is the variable of where, it will retain it. So that's why in this line it will print value of the variable where is prefix, this line. Yeah. Now in shell scripting we have seen that semicolon is used to connect two different commands, right? Suppose I want to print in my output a semicolon character. How to go about doing that? For that reason you have to escape it with backslash. So when I write backslash followed by semicolon, it will print semicolon character as it is in the output. Similarly, dollar is a special character because we use dollar for accessing the value of the variable in shell scripting. And if you want to print this dollar sign as exactly same in output, then you have to prefix it with backslash. Clear? So it will print I have $1200 on the screen. Clear? Now we have seen two examples wherein we had to explicitly write backslash sign to escape the special characters in shell scripting. So if I want many special characters to be escaped while printing, then instead of typing backslash every time for every special character, what we can do is we can just enclose that entire string in a single quote. If you can see this example, there are many special characters here. So instead of applying backslash for each and every special character in this string, you can just embed that in a single quote. With that, I need not have to escape sequence any of the special characters in this string. It will just echo the string as it is whenever it's in single quote. Clear? Whenever it is single quote, it will just echo whatever characters which are there in that string as it is. And we need not have to escape sequence the special characters in that line. Clear? Now let's learn this example. I want to print on the screen its shell programming, and I want to print this single quote as it is. For that reason, I need to escape that single quote with a backslash sign. So it will print this string as it is on the screen. Okay. Now let's see the second example. What I am doing here, I am assigning a variable where with a value Viraj in it. So Viraj will be inserted in this string where. Then I am echoing on the screen content of where, which is Viraj. O's will be printed as it is, and whatever special characters which are there here, I am escaping those special characters with a backslash sign so that these characters will be as it is displayed in the output. Okay, dollar is a special symbol, so if I want that to be displayed as it is in the output, I have to prefix it with a slash sign. And then I want to execute this date command with a particular format, and hence I am embedding that in apostrophe symbol. Okay. So in this special symbol, I am embedding this particular command. So date command will be executed in the format of month followed by day, and that is printed here. Clear? Now let's discuss the redirection operators. What if I want to display the output of a script in a output text file? I don't want the output of my script to be displayed on the screen, but I want that to go in a text file. So how do we do that? Here is a simple example. Here I am echoing line 1, and using this symbol of greater than sign, I am writing the output of this echo into a file called users. So line 1 will be inserted into file users. So if I just get this file, it will print the content of the file, which is line 1. So this symbol will every time overwrite the content of user's file with whatever I am giving as an input. So every time I run this line, it will replace the content of user's file with line 1. So every time you do cat on users, it will always display line 1 to you. What if you want to retain the contents of the file and write the contents to that file in an append mode? For that reason, you have to use two greater than signs. So in this example, I am echoing line 2 in append mode to file users. So when I get this file, it contains its earlier contents, which is line 1 followed by line 2. So double greater than sign is used for append mode. Now if I count the number of lines in this file, there are two lines, line 1 and line 2. So just like this is an output redirection, less than sign is used as input redirection, wherein the contents of the user's file is taken as input to the command wc. Okay, so this is an output redirection, this is output redirection in append mode, and this is input redirection. That is, we are taking the contents of the files as input to this particular command, and since there are two lines in this file, it prints 2. Okay, what if I want the output of the script or a command to not display at all on the screen and not also in the file? Then what I do is I write the output of the command to /dev/null, so it won't be displayed onto the screen. Okay, if I want to discard both the normal output stdout of the command as well as its error output, then how to do that? 2 is used to indicate error output and 1 is used to indicate standard output. So in this particular statement, the error output I am redirecting to standard output, and by this method whatever is the standard output, that I am writing it to dev null. That means both the error and standard output will go to dev null and it won't display anything on the screen. Clear? I repeat, 2 is used to depict the error output and 1 is used to depict the standard output. So with this construct, error output I am directing it to standard output, and as part of this particular part I am writing the standard output to dev null file. That means it won't display anything on the screen, neither standard output nor error output. Clear? Now let's discuss a new concept in shell scripting, that is shift. What exactly is the shift? So this I can explain you beautifully with the help of this example here. So in this example, I am running this script and I am passing 3 command line parameters to it. And the 3 command line parameters which I pass are Viraj, online, tutor. So I pass Viraj, online, tutor space separated as 3 different parameters to this script while running this script. Okay, so this echo will print this line on the screen saying current command line arguments are, content of $1 is Viraj because it is the first command line parameter that I had passed. Content of $2 is online, which is the second parameter I passed. Content of $3 is tutor, which is the third parameter I passed. Right? Then I am invoking a shift. This shift will shift the values of the command line parameters one location to its left. I repeat, this shift will shift the values of the command line parameters one location left. So after doing a shift, I am again printing on the screen, after the shift operation, the command line arguments are so and so. So after the shift, command line arguments are now $1, which was earlier Viraj, is been shifted to the left side now, which is not captured now over here. Online which was in $2 now comes in $1. Tutor which was in $3 now comes in $2. And there was nothing called $4, that's why $3 is empty. So shift just shifts the command line parameters one location to the left. So online which was in 2 now comes in 1. Tutor which was in 3 now comes in 2. Clear? So we have shifted. There was no $4, that's why 3 is empty. Clear? So now let's discuss an example of how to convert a decimal number into either a hexadecimal or octal or binary format. Okay, so here script.sh is a name given to this shell script, and this is a way how I execute it. I run this script and I pass these 4 command line parameters. -b followed by which base I want it to get converted to. -n followed by a number in a decimal format. Okay, so let's see how to go about doing this operation using the shift operator which we just learned. So while $1, so what is a $1 when we run this script? -b. So -b is the first positional parameter. So this will indicate that while loop will enter into the execution if this content of $1 is non-empty. So -b is assigned to $1 which is non-empty, so it will enter in. Now I am checking whether $1 is equal to -b. Yes, it is, so it will enter in. Whatever is the second positional parameter, which is 16, will be assigned to OB, okay, which is the output base. Now I am using a case statement to check what are the values contained in this variable OB. Is it in one of these options? So what are these options? 16. If it is 16, then in this variable called base system, assign a value hex. If the contents of OB was 8, assign octal into base system. If the content of OB is 2, assign binary to base system. And if user didn't specify any of these numbers 16, 8 and 2, then you assign unknown to base system. And eject is used to end the case block. After I do that, I shift 2. When I do a shift 2, it will shift the positional parameters to location on the left. So $1 which was -b, now $1 becomes -n and $2 will become 500 because I am shifting the positional parameters to location left. So after I do shift 2, it will go to the next iteration of the while loop. Now what is the content of $1? Is it -b? No, it is -n now, right? So this if is not true, so it will go to elif. In elif, is content of $1 equal to -n? Yes, it is. Correct? So it will enter in, and whatever is the $2's contents, which is 500, will be assigned to num. And then I am shifting 2 again. After I shift 2 again, then both these variables will be shifted to locations, and now $1 is nothing. So when it will go in the next time to loop, $1 is nothing, so it will exit from the while loop. Now I am echoing this particular contents to a utility on the shell scripting machine called BC, which will do the entire calculation process for you automatically. And what I am outputting to that? I am outputting saying O base, output base that is expected is contents of OB, which is 16. That is, I am expecting the number to be converted in the base format 16. Then I base, that is a source numbers source format, is 10 because this number that I am asking to convert is of decimal format. And then I am giving the number to be converted. So this BC utility will convert number 500 into base 16. It will convert this number, which is value 500, into base 16. Okay, and it will print this on the screen. What this echo will do? Number, that is 500, is in the decimal number format, right? And output is nothing but the converted number by BC utility, which is 1F4. In what is base system that I'm expecting output to be in hex. So hex number system, and this is base is equal to content of OB, and content of OB was 16. Okay, content of OB was 16, right? So this line, we are not doing anything great here, just we are replacing the variable with actual values in this script and outputting over here. Important is the shift that I wanted to explain. When I do shift, it shifts the command line parameters to location to its left. Clear? So now let's go through a very cool example wherein I'm explaining to you all how to handle command line parameters in a more professional way. So there is a construct in shell scripting called getOpts, which is meant for getting optional parameters from the user. So how about going through that? So here is a sample program whose name is script.sh. In that I'm having one function called help, which will just display on the screen the usage of this particular script. So this script is expected to have three optional parameters: n for name of an animal, a for age of an animal, and d is for demo values, wherein I want to run this script with the demo values. So whatever values that it has by default, it will use those values. N is if I want to give a specific name to the animal, a if I want to give specific age to the animal. Okay, so this help will just display this help to the user. So first I am setting a default values to the variables. So I am setting each default to 0. Then I am assigning name Tommy to a variable NA, which is expected to save name of the animal. I am assigning value 2 to age, which will save age of the animal. Okay, and this is the way how I execute this script. -n and give the value of the name, -a and give the age for an animal. Okay, and what exactly am I doing? I am checking how many positional parameters did user specify while running this script. Can you tell me how many positional parameters are there here? 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it is counting how many positional parameters did user specify while running this script. And if it is less than 1, that means user did not specify any positional parameters. In that case, I am invoking function help, and it will display this help menu to the user on the screen, and it will exit the script. Suppose user had specified the options like the way I have given, then I am running a while loop. I am calling getOpts, which will give the getOpts is an utility which will get me the optional parameters, okay, that user had provided on the screen. And then what are the different parameters that I am supporting? I am supporting n for name of an animal, a for age of an animal, and d for using the demo values inside the script. Okay, so please notice here that I have used n, a and d, which are the three optional parameters that I am supporting, and separated with a colon sign. Okay, so n, a and d, these are the three parameters, okay, that I am supporting to my script. So I need to specify them after getOpts with colon separating these three options. So while getOpts possible values n, a, d, opt do following. So if user had typed in one of these three values, okay, it will assign that particular character to opt variable, and now I am using a case block to check what did in this particular iteration, what is the value of option that is being tracked now. Okay, so first I am passing n, right? So in the first loop it will indicate that n is passed by the user, and it will save n in opt. So here opt contains n, right? So it will match to this particular line, and it will save the content of the value provided for this option n. So what is the value provided for this option n by the user? Boxer. So boxer is a value provided by the user for parameter n. So opt-arg is an inbuilt terminology for getting the value associated with an option n. So boxer will be assigned to NA. Okay. Now we are going through the next loop of the while. Now the next parameter option that I am passing is A. So OPT will contain A. Now it will match this line. And what is the value of A provided by the user? 4. So 4 will get saved into age. Then it will go next. There are no other parameters passed, so it will come out of this while. Now it is checking what is the value of each def. Each def is 0, right? So it will print this line on the screen saying animal name. What is the content of NA? Content of NA was boxer, which was supplied by the user. Age. What is the content of age variable? Content of age variable is 4, which was supplied by the user and saved over here. Okay. So this get opts is a very good terminology used in shell scripting to handle the command line options that you pass. So now let's consider what if user had typed any other option other than N, A and D. In that case, it would have printed help to the user. Suppose you have typed question mark, it will display help. So it will treat only this particular command line options passed by the user. If you pass anything else, it's not going to help us in any way. So this get opts is a professional way of handling your command line switches. Clear? So let's discuss more concepts in upcoming lectures. Thank you.